It's the final hour, the post trip on Nemo Nation. Let's see what we can see with Madison with a T.
Wow, I love when she rhymes. We're in the final hour, and I'm here with your host, Jimmy Mack, and the infamous Dave Nemo. How you guys doing?
Rhymes are important in these times.
They are.
It gives us all a moment to shine. Listen,
I
guys.
rhymed that and she didn't even notice.
She got it.
Poet and didn't even know it.
I got a few dimes.
No one here should do any more talking except for Dave. That's just what it kind of comes down to. No, Dave Nemo is here, of course. He's at the center of Nemo Nation on this Monday of National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. We've kept that in mind. This whole lineup, as you probably can guess, has been put together to give a lot of people who just wanted an opportunity to say thank you. We love you. We hope you're being safe out there. Before we bring our next guest in, and Dave will do that, tell me a little bit about cardboard, Dave.
Oh, cardboard. Do you want to know where cardboard comes from?
I think people are dying to know. Inquiring minds want to know. I want to know.
It's almost hard to believe, and I have the list right here. It's almost hard to believe that most of our cardboard comes from China.
Where?
China.
China.
Guess what the second biggest country is?
What?
Germany.
Man, those German. Here's the thing. I bet you the German one is better designed.
Could have been Poland.
Poland's a cardboard country, huh?
Poland is a cardboard. Italy. Then us.
Then us, huh?
Then Mexico, France, UK, Canada, and finally Belgium.
Well, Belgians just don't want to do those jobs.
Yeah, I know.
They just don't want to do those jobs. All they want to do is just, eat their little fries. They invented them, by the way.
They did.
That's where they come from, by the way. I don't know if you know this. It is actually National Truck Driver Appreciation Week.
Is it really?
I know you
is
may
this
have.
day two?
This is day two, National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, you took the lead with a guy named McElligott in helping put together a thing called the St. Christopher's Trucking Fund, and I think you should do the honor of introducing our next guest, by the way.
Who is Diane Hutsell, who is the Director of Philanthropy.
You've been dying to say it that way. Philanthropy sounds very, very.
I've never heard it said that way before.
Oh yes,
beautiful.
It's like color. It's like when people in Britain say color. It's a certain color of blue. It's
very
a certain
proper.
Philanthropy. Philanthropy. Go on, Dave, please.
Well, she is the Director of Philanthropy at the St. Christophe Truckers Fund.
All right, take it easy.
Good morning,
We're just not
Diane.
rhyming it. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so we're going to talk about Truck Drivers Appreciation Week and what you guys at St. Christopher think about drivers, and we'll get into a few things that you're doing for drivers as well. But let's talk about comic books and movies first, though. You can never tell a guy like me stuff like that, okay? But you have a comic book collection that evidently is quite a collection.
It is. I've been collecting for a really long time. I am a born in the bone Batman nerd. It's a miracle.
Okay.
My husband and I have been together for as long as we have because he is Marvel and I'm DC. But that's okay. We make
And you
it work.
live in the same house. Wow.
We do. We live in the same house. I've been collecting comic books before it was cool to be a comic book nerd, and I have the glasses in the collection to kind of prove that. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Now, I'm going to ask you the typical question. Do you have a comic book that is your treasure? Like, is it worth a lot of money? That sort of thing. Are you into that aspect of it?
Well, it's a perk as I become an adult and get to a certain age. You kind of value the value of those comic books. I have one that I bought way back in the day when I was in graduate school, so I know I didn't spend much money on it because I had no money then. But it has significantly gone up like 400 or 500% of what I bought it, and it's actually the first appearance of Nightwing. For those of you who are not familiar, Nightwing is Dick Grayson, who was the first Boy Wonder Robin. So.
Wow.
By the way, there is a big debate at the end of The Dark Knight Rises when Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character steps onto the platform and begins to rise. There's a big fight whether or not he is going to become either the new Batman or whether he's going to transform immediately into Nightwing.
I had heard that he was going to be Nightwing, but then these new movies that are popping up, supposedly somewhere down the line, Damian Wayne, who is actually Bruce Wayne's illegitimate son, and like the fifth incantation of Robin is supposed to show up. I'm telling you, I can geek all over myself.
This, by the way, is the greatest
Getting
guest.
it
This
from
is
the
the greatest
source.
guest we have ever had on Nemo Nation. Let me really quickly, since you're talking about this, I'm going to geek out in another direction.
Okay.
I actually took a teaching appointment while working on my master's at the University of Alabama. One of the reasons why I was able to live in that sort of comfort was because I had to move on with my life. And this is when you could still like sell a lot of stuff on the internet for a lot of money before everybody figured out that everybody had everything actually. I sold the original editions of Bernie Wrightson's Swamp Thing, all of his Tomb of Horrors, gets better.
Wow.
Gene Colan's limited edition of Night Force. And I'm telling you, to the tune of $21,000, I unloaded a ton of stuff.
Flesh here. That's
Wow.
impressive.
I mean, good stuff. And by the way, if you are a fan of The Dark Knight, I would recommend everybody out there to check out Bernie Wrightson's gorgeous illustrations. He actually wrote the script for it as well, too, of the Batman Swamp Thing mashup.
Yes.
You will never see a
Yes.
cooler version of Bruce Wayne. He looks like a brooding romantic hero. I mean,
That's actually on my list because I'm that big of a nerd. I have a list of ones that I look for. That's actually on my list to get those. So, yeah.
Okay, I am going to make a recommendation about this show, the show that you're listening to right now, that you're a part of, by the way, and for the entire week. Once a month, we have a guy by the name of Terry Taylor. It's not the exact same thing, but he owns a toy store in Lawrence, Kansas called 1313 Mockingbird Toys. And and you know, of course, what Mockingbird Lane is, of course, from the Munsters, nerd that you are.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of that kind of talk that goes on around. You're in good company, not just with the two people on this show, but a lot of our listeners out there are part of that particular world.
But wait,
Excellent.
There's more.
there's more because I also asked Diane to give us the names of 3 good Halloween movies as we start turning toward October.
Go on.
Because she's into
Love
horror movies too.
movies.
Yeah.
That's a staple in our house.
Okay.
Obviously, you have to go with the greatest horror movie of all time is John Carpenter's Halloween, which started what horror movies were for the next 25 plus years.
Agreed.
But then you have to throw in Friday the 13th, which is my favorite horror movie. My husband's Halloween. I'm Friday the 13th. But then there's the whole debate, is the first movie really a Friday the 13th? Because, spoiler alert, it was Jason's mom killing everybody. Didn't know if you guys knew that.
If you don't know that, too bad, so sad. It's
Man,
long.
I knew I should not have tuned into this show this morning.
And then, you know, you got to, like, any good zombie movie. I'm too Catholic to watch anything where anybody is possessed. There's just too much baggage with that. But give me a good zombie movie. And one of the greatest movies of all time came out several years ago. It's called Overlord. Kurt Russell's son is in it. Looks just like a mini version of his son. But it's based on World War II, which, again, I'm not, on top of being a comic book nerd, I'm also a history nerd. So World War II, Cold War, love everything about that. But it's World War II. They drop in the troops to kind of set up for Operation Overlord so they can, you know, storm the beaches. The Nazis are turning Nazi soldiers into zombies.
Oh, yeah.
As they do.
It's Eli Roth produced, right? Did I get that right? I think it's a
Yes.
Roth
Oh.
production. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
you can't beat Eli Roth. I mean, and then there's like just for
Or he'll
fun,
beat you with a
Evil Dead,
baseball bat in
will beat you.
Glorious Bastards, you know. So sorry
I
about that.
actually watched that just the other day. So, you know, but then.
Oh,
but
yeah,
then
that's
there's the
making
fun
another round
of
on
Evil
that.
Dead. You know, you can't beat Bruce Campbell at the fun of Evil Dead. I mean,
Groovy.
Yeah, there's just too many. Yeah. Shop smart, shop as smart. So yeah, I'm not your typical girl. I'm you know, I was destined to be a boy mom.
By
I
the
also watch baseball, so you know.
By the way, boy mom, I don't know if you know this, but you've actually come to the right place because we're baseball junkies here too. Trucker Bosun on the chat wanted to let us all know that there are rumors, in fact, that Dolph Lundgren might play the aged Bruce Wayne in a Batman Beyond movie right now that are making the
I
rounds.
heard that.
What?
And I have a friend who was one of the script runners on Penguin. And what she
Oh, God, I
told
love
me,
that show.
what she told me about Matt Hughes' next plan, she said, you know, we all have to kind of, you know, we can't really go into details. We sign NDAs. She said, but I can give you 2 hints for what the next Pattinson Batman is about. Just like the first one was Chinatown and Seven combined, what she told me was, she said, are you a fan of Sidney Lumet? And I said, bet your ass I am. And she said, I want you to imagine Serpico and Prince of the City became one movie with Batman in the middle of it, and that's where we're headed with the next one. So all kinds of grooves.
Pattinson is my consummate Batman. We debate this long and hard in my house. He is Batman. I was worried about the sparkly vampire becoming Batman, but my 17-year-old, he gives me the hardest time because I've probably watched it 60, 70 times. Like, I'll just turn it on in the background and just watch it. So, and then I read a rumor that they're doing a second season of Penguin, which
They are.
that's a stellar show. I mean, that was just fantastic. So, huzzah!
Can you imagine the pitch for that? I mean, you walk into that movie room and it's like, so what are we thinking about here? Well, we thought we would do the Batman villain, the Penguin, as the Sopranos. And you're like, oh, well, hey, sign me up for that. I mean, that just sounds... Although I will tell you, I might be with you on the Pattinson thing, but there is no better line for Batman than in any movie from Dark Knight Rises when he says, they know, they just don't care. You know, it's just awesome. My friend...
But there's also, where do you get those wonderful toys? I mean, you can pick one
that's
from just about any.
I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
I like this job. I love this job. By the way, I want to point out, when Heath Ledger says that, guys, as the Joker, he's driving a semi. I just want to point out, Joker's favorite job in any of those movies is driving a semi. And that's
driving a semi. It's hard work, man.
Dave, will you get us out of the weeds here?
And that brings us right back to the health and well-being of the professional truck driver.
Which the Joker is not a good poster child for.
No,
not exactly.
Slaughter is not the best medicine, despite what the truck says. Absolutely.
This is true.
Tell us what... Oh, by the way, Trucker Bosun, I'm telling you, pull people into this thing, and he just said, if you're talking about Bruce Campbell, you can't leave out Bubba Hotep. All right. I know.
No. Not even going to touch that one.
I know, we won't even go there. The idea that Elvis and John Kennedy are still out there looking out for us all is pretty groovy. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys got cooking this week and beyond.
Oh, we celebrate truck drivers all year long. We just like to turn it up all the way to 11 during this week. And so, see, movie reference. So we've got this week, people can go online to St. Christopher's website, which is truckersfund.org. And you can thank a truck driver if you have one in your life, if you are an owner-operator, if you have drivers that drive for you. One of my dearest best friends, her dad was a truck driver, and it was kind of funny. I've been in this position for almost 6 months exactly this week. And when I was telling her, because we've been friends since college days, so a long time, about what we do, she was like, oh my gosh, if I had known this in college, because she almost had to drop out of college because her father had a heart attack, and she was like not going to be able to afford college. And then she thought she was going to have to get a job to help support her mom and her sister. Thankfully, that didn't have to happen. But she said, if we'd had St. Christopher's, it would have saved so much stress and so much heartache in our lives. And so she's going to put pictures of her dad and that kind of story on there. So it's one of those things that you don't realize. I think everyone, if they stop and take a beat, and they know someone within the trucking industry, whether it's their dad or their husband or somebody. My dad, way, way back in the day when we lived in New York, worked for Mack Trucks. And so everybody's got a connection. But then obviously, if you're used to today, a driver probably brought it to you. 70-some-odd% of everything you use every day, whether it's raw goods or it's that item itself, it was brought to you by a truck driver. And everybody remembers during COVID when people weren't getting their toilet paper, everybody was freaking out, and it was truck drivers that kind of saved the day after that supply chain got reestablished. And I think people are kind of forgetting a little bit about what they actually do. And so we're excited to be able to promote that and to celebrate them. I've never worked with a better group of people in all of my nonprofit career than truck drivers. It's been a blast. I love it.
Have you got a pencil handy? Can you write something down real fast?
I can. I'm ready.
Okay. Write this down. mytruckingfuture.com.
Future.com. Okay.
MyTruckingFuture. That's something the Alabama Trucking Association put together. It is stunningly good. And to your point, it really, really is.
It's national campaign worthy. For a state association to create this level of website is stunning. And it's a great reminder, too, that when you actually do care about the people who are in your organization, that you're capable of producing amazing things. Please check it out. It is a great website.
Well, I've been reaching out to all of the state trucking associations, and being director of philanthropy, everybody's used to me asking them for money, but I want to know, what do we need to do for their drivers in their state? They're going to know above and beyond what anybody else is going to know what they're going to need. So I haven't made contact with Alabama yet, but I'll have to definitely put them on my list. I've got several that I'm going to meet up with in San Diego at ATA. So we've got some great things in mind. You know, Courtney, our new executive director, you know, Donna had just raised. She said, I feel like I'm sending it off to college after 18 years. So you've got me and Courtney in here stirring the pot. And we've got some ideas. Some of them might be a little bit crazy, but there's always some good to what we're doing, and just we're throwing things at the wall to see what we can stick, and, you know, just trying all sorts of wonderful things. So I will definitely have to take a look at that and see what they've got going on.
The other thing is, too, and you just made allusion to it, and I really want our listeners to pay attention, is that, you know, you do spend a lot of time as the director of Philanthropy. I'm going to say it my way. As the director of Philanthropy, you do spend a lot of time out there, you know, making sure that the St. Christopher Fund stays funded. But you guys are also encourage drivers to, you know, stay in touch with you guys, to encourage associations to say, this is what we're looking for, because it's a lot easier to raise money to help truckers out when truckers and the associations and the companies that represent them say, this is what we're finding where you guys can fill in the gaps, right? You guys really want to know what's going on from the people who are actually out there. That's a really important part of what you do, correct?
And you know, those of us that work there for St. Christopher's, we're small staff. We tell people we're small but mighty. You know, this isn't our industry. I've gone from museum director to working with senior care to the trucking industry, and so, you know, it's a new bag for me. And so that's why we have the ambassadors group. They're truck drivers. They're the ones that wheels are on the road. They kind of tell us what's happening and what's coming. Our second annual 5K, we hosted that this year. That came out of one of our drivers saying, hey, we need to get together and we need to figure out a way to get people up and moving. And so a lot of the ideas that we do that come straight from our drivers. So it's really exciting to hear from them. And, you know, if drivers out there have some ideas, they can find us again on our website. Shoot us an email. We truly, genuinely love to hear from our drivers. That's my favorite people to talk to. You know, I don't know if you know this about me, I'm a bit of a talker, but my favorite people to talk to are when I talk to people that have donated, are those individuals that I have one said, you know, I'm a driver. I don't need you now, but I might one day. Or, you know, you help my son-in-law, or my dad was a driver. And so that's the favorite part of my job, is actually getting to meet all the drivers. I actually had been on the job for 8 days before I was in Louisville with Donna at Matt's, and so I got pushed in on the deep end.
Baptism by fire on that one,
industry. Oh yeah, she was like, "We'll just go," and I said, "No, I'm fine with this. I work pretty good. Just shove me in on the deep end and stuff, because, you know, I'm not terribly shy about things or anything." And so yeah, it's a blast to get to meet everybody. So when I say truly shoot us your ideas or ask us questions, I genuinely mean that. You can find me on there. I'm Diane at truckersun.org. Shoot me an email. Let me know.
One of the things you all have, and I want you to kind of plug it a little bit, and this is a personal thing. One of my good friends, he's a great musician here in town, got shingles, and he got the breakout on his face. And shingles are exceedingly painful. And there's a vaccination program for shingles, for COVID, for the flu.
Oh yeah.
So plug the inoculations here, because, man, I mean, it's so easy to get these shots, and it's
shingle
free.
shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we joke about Lindsay, who is our health and wellness coordinator. She's like, I want to put you out of a job. She's phenomenal, because she says we want to keep everyone healthy and on the road. I would love it if that was where I spent all my time, was trying to find funding so that we could support diabetes prevention programming and the health screenings, and, you know, you said the vaccines, where you can go to, I believe there's Walgreens and Walmart. You can go and just get a voucher, and you can go get your vaccine and keep yourself healthy and stay on the road. Because I can't imagine being in a truck all that time. I mean, people don't stop to really think about how much time they're in that space. You know, there's not a lot of opportunity to just go out for a jog or have a salad or anything like that. So that's our goal with the health programs, is to try to keep drivers healthy. I was shocked to discover all of the health concerns that drivers specifically have because of their lifestyle, because of the sacrifices that they make for everybody else in the world. And so that's what we definitely want to keep them healthy. We're looking at expanding the diabetes wellness program. Like I said, we've got some things on the hopper that we're just working on funding for, and we have to grow that program, and it's a great problem to have. But we're at that point. We need two Lindsays. So it's like I said, it's a great problem to have, but it's something definitely that I work hard on, is trying to find those funds out there to help support that program, because it's easier to stay healthy than it is to get somebody back on that road. So yeah, we work really hard to keep everybody on their feet and going well.
It's a real success story, by the way. I want to point out to our listeners out there, to go from basically dealing with catastrophic illnesses, with with really terrible accidents that put people out of commission, people not taking care of themselves. The fact that the organization has really been able to pivot into preventative care as well, to really become an advocate for making sure that the people in those cabs take care of themselves, in many ways kind of lines up beautifully with one of the members' founders, Dave Nemo, who made a choice after he had a heart attack. It's almost a decade now, right, Dave? I mean, we're at a decade now.
2014. No, it's over a decade.
It's 11 years now, yeah. So Dave's been doing this for, 11 years, a complete change in his lifestyle and his approach to health. And in many ways, you guys, part of the success you guys can kind of celebrate is you've made a real commitment to not just making sure that they're taken care of when things go wrong, but to kind of put them in a position where things don't go wrong. I mean, that's fair, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of tout it as we're there for in sickness and health. We're kind of like a marriage, for good or bad. We're there. So yeah, we because we have such great community support, not just on the individual level, but with Dave being there and you guys being there for us and helping to promote what we do, and our corporate sponsors, because of that, we've given out over $5.2 million to drivers since we began. It's over 4,100 different drivers, and we obviously hope to grow that. Over the last year, we've been able to increase the amount of funding that we're able to give per driver, and we're hope that we can keep growing it every year as we go along. Like it's a terrible problem to have, but we're that safety net for when it happens. Speaking of someone who broke her foot last week and is working from her sofa, I have a job where I can work from my couch. But I can't drive myself anywhere. And so if that were my livelihood, I'm getting a firsthand experience of being tethered to my sofa, but I'm still able to go to work. So to be that truck driver, to be the one that might necessarily be the breadwinner, because you have a lot of the spouse that's staying home because their husband, more often it's the husband or not than the wife, they're on the road 4, 5, 6 days a week. So it's a challenge. I'm truly blessed to get to work for this amazing group of people, and that there's so many people in the industry that truly cares about supporting truck drivers.
Diane, I wish you could have been here when you actually unveiled that number that you guys have raised, and Dave, the look on Dave's face of pride. Of course, I pointed at him and I said, "You did that," and he, of course, immediately was like, "No, not me." But it's staggering to think about how this began with just a group of guys kind of going, "You know what, truckers need to take better care of themselves," and suddenly we're at truckersfund.org. Couple of other questions. You said you're a baseball fan, right?
Yeah.
Who do you root for?
Chicago Cubs.
God bless you. By the way,
I'm a Cubbies, but we have a solid anybody but the Yankees rule in my house.
By the way, so I can say now with comfort that I don't need to root against you. As a Cubs fan, you're in the National League, which means my Mariners, who, by the way, have won 9 straight to take a beautiful, pristine 1-game lead for the first time in 3 months in the American League West. I am over the moon, delighted about that. How many boys? How many young men you got running around your life? What's going on? I mean, how did you become a boy mom? I mean, how did that happen?
I'll tell you, I am the lone girl in the house. Even the giant 8-month-old Rhodesian Ridgeback is a boy. But yeah, I am mom to a 17-year-old. Probably the best thing I've ever done in my life, and it's a good thing that I was destined to be a boy mom, because I've been a Boy Scout troop leader for over a decade. We're getting ready to eagle up. Woohoo! And I literally married my childhood sweetheart. We met in kindergarten. So.
Oh my God, you're a Rockwell painting. I mean,
Pretty much.
I mean, oh my
Pretty
God!
much.
By the way, I'm very proud of this. My brother John is a member of the Order of the Arrow.
Oh, see, there's a handful of people that might know what it is, because here's another lovely nugget of knowledge. Only 4% of boys, of course, now they let girls in. We have some girls in our troop actually become an Eagle Scout. I mean, it's pretty impressive. And I tell Jack that when he gets that badge, half of that is mine, because, like I said, I've been a troop leader for over a decade now.
By the way, I will ask her not on the air and embarrass her. Our current producer on the board is a film director. I would challenge her to name how many Eagle Scouts can you name that became great American filmmakers. Both of them are really obvious. Once you figure out what an Eagle Scout is, the two of them are very obvious. We'll just leave it at that. By the way, what do you got planned for the rest of the week? What's it looking like for you?
Oh, just promoting what drivers do. We've got some great things that are going to be up on our social media, just with different partners that have helped support us. TQL, Transfix Logistics have this is their first year. They have pulled together a fantasy football league for us. Their goal is to raise about $10,000 for us. We're almost halfway there. It's going to run all the way through the Super Bowl. You don't have to pay to play. You can just get in and see. I, quite frankly, am going to pick my team based on what their color of the uniform is and what the mascot is.
Of course.
That's
How
the
else?
solid way to do it. I told her, I said, we need to do one for baseball next year, and then I'll totally clean the board on that one. But
I'm in.
so
I'll be
yeah,
part of that.
totally in.
If the money's going to the St. Christopher Fund, I'm completely in. You can count me in.
And it's one of those things where people know what we do and they know our reputation. And so they called up and said, hey, we want to partner with you guys. And we went, okay. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more of that. And so we've got posted on our social media, our Instagram and our Facebook and all that good stuff. We've got an article that's going to be going up on our LinkedIn page that Courtney, who is our executive director, wrote. Is going to be up there. We've got where we hope everybody will post ideas, pictures of who they want to thank in the trucking industry. I've already got plans for next year. I haven't been sitting on my laurels on this one at all. And so just, like I said, just all this week, we are celebrating and thanking drivers across the country. We do it all year long, but this is that year where we really just put a spotlight on what they do.
And you just did in great form and fashion, Diane, and can't thank you enough for the work you're doing with St. Christopher, and can't thank you enough for kicking off our week with us. Okay, so my wife and I always turn to the 1940s Universal movies for Halloween. This year we're going to add Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Overlord in your honor. And how many comic books do you have?
Not as many as my husband. I think I have probably about a half a dozen comic book boxes. So they're,
I thought you were going to say half a dozen comic books. I'm like, what are you talking about? Boxes. Now we're talking.
There we go.
Diane, we got to get out of here. Thank you so much.